Welcome to City Snippet. Today we'll walk all the way from the village down to the Mysterious Bookshop. Heading east on 13th Street, we'll make a right and head south on 6th Avenue, also known as Avenue of the Americas. 6th Avenue is a busy street with lots of traffic and different retail and restaurant storefronts. But at West 10th Street, we come upon the Jefferson Market branch of the New York Public Library, which was built between 1875 and 1877, and it's a New York City landmark building. Originally, it was a courthouse and a holding area for prisoners, but eventually in 1967, the library opened. Heading south, we come upon the community garden, which is actually a spot where the women's prison used to be. And you enter on Greenwich Avenue. It's between 6th Avenue and West 10th Street. And this passiflora was pretty striking. There are different flowers that grow throughout the year. Phlox, hydrangea, black-eyed Susans, lots of different flowers, as well as Japanese pagoda trees. And this garden, it actually didn't start until the spring of 1975 when the first flowers bloomed. This little fountain was cute, although maybe it needs a few more rose bushes around it. Anytime I come across one of these community gardens that the public can access, I usually sneak in there. Well, I don't really sneak, I just walk through it. And during the pandemic, this garden, they do have a limit of how many people they're allowing in, and you have to walk in one direction. But it was still really nice to walk through. Back on 6th Avenue, we walk past Waverly Restaurant, also in a landmark building, and has been around for about 40 years. And then the intersection of Cornelia Street and West 4th at 6th Avenue. And soon after that, we come upon the IFC Center, which shows indie films. And then there's Father Demos Square, which is at 6th Avenue and Bleecker Street in Carmine. It's a small piazza with a fountain named after the pastor of a nearby Our Lady of Pompeii church in the early 1900s. And guess what this little park is? Winston Churchill Square, because it's on Downing Street. But we need to keep heading south, so we cross Bedford and Houston Street, which is a busy intersection, so be careful if you're walking it. And soon we come to this vine-covered building that used to be the location of the old Grapevine Tavern, which was built in the 1790s. But in 1913, it was torn down and an apartment building was built. Across the street there, we just passed God's Love We Deliver, which is a nonprofit that delivers prepared meals to people living with HIV, AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses. And then suddenly, it's another park. This is Spring Street Park. It's a long, narrow park that goes down to Broome Street. And it includes a statue of Jose Artigas, the Uruguayan independence leader. It was spruced up in 2017 with more seats and trees added. Running from Grand Street to Canal Street is Juan Pablo Duarte Square, which has been a New York City park since 1977. It was a square that was dedicated in 1945, but originally, in the late 17th century, it was a farm plot. Crossing Canal Street is another place that you really need to watch out and look around. It's a major east-west street, and it can be crazy busy, especially east of here in the Chinatown section. But now we're going to head south on Varick and head into the Tribeca area. We pass by Walker's Tavern at North Moore Street. It's one of those old New York kind of pub restaurant places. And then heading a little bit south, we come upon the Supreme Court of New York building, which looks kind of fancy. And suddenly we're at Warren Street and make a left because we want to go to the Mysterious Bookshop, which Otto Penzler opened in 1979, originally in a Midtown location, and moved to Tribeca here in 2005. This is the oldest mystery specialty bookstore in the United States, and it sells both new and old hardcover and paperback books. And Otto Penzler also started Mysterious Press, which publishes books. They have several library ladders in the shop, and I have a thing about library ladders, and I always want to climb up them, but I haven't yet. And they're not that far from the World Trade Center and 9/11 Museum and Memorial, so you could always hoof it over there if you want afterward. Goodbye for now, bookstore.